Super. BS.
Well, we're back. It's I Level Baby Boy Brank, and we're Super BS, a podcast about video games mostly. Before I introduce these rowdy gentlemen next to me, I want to tell you guys to check us out on Instagram at Super BS Gamescast and shoot us a line at superbsgamescast@gmail.com. But enough of that nonsense about advertising ourselves. I'm joined by one we know as the Glass Man. Reveal yourself, Glass Man.
I am revealed to be Gerald Glassford there, sir.
It's the Glass Man! From Glass, the great M. Night Shyamalan film, the one that we all know the most.
I'm going to go ahead and reach out and virtually pinch you both. Pinch, because it is St. Patty's Day.
Ouch, Gerald, stop.
And I am wearing green. Pinch.
Gerald, this is harassment. Gerald, please don't do this.
No, sorry, not on the 17th of March.
Gerald, this is workplace harassment. You're not allowed to pinch people anymore. That's what the line that we all get. Okay, we walk around pinching people, and everybody.
I will have my lawyer speak to you.
Everybody can see that I am wearing green. Who's watching this live podcast? Okay, so let the record show. Okay,
hold on. You've got something that's the Eagles, but I'm assuming it's not the Philadelphia Eagles.
It is a Philadelphia Eagles. Lower third man. Reveal yourself. You're wearing a Philadelphia Eagles shirt, and you're the staff?
I cannot reveal myself. This is a kid-friendly show.
Nice.
Let's keep it G-rated here. No, this is just the logo of the school that I work at. I'm the
no wonder it's not green.
I know. I don't know enough about the Philadelphia Eagles to pull something like that off. All right.
They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's the water boy.
What? I'm sorry. What is a Super Bowl? I'm just kidding.
It's that big thing where one rapper goes off on another rapper and totally disses him.
You know, it's funny out here. We have everyone's like Baylor town, and everyone's always talking like, yeah, Baylor, and I always make that joke like, what's a Baylor? And like, oh, it's not funny anymore.
Baylor, I hardly knew her, as Michael Scott would say from The Office.
I will only say this. I'll only say this because we're going to talk just a teeny bit about Kendrick Lamar and Drake right here. It's so funny because the news today, Drake's label, they are dismissing. They're seeking a dismissing of the lawsuit with Kendrick Lamar over Not Like Us because get this, they claim that the rapper Drake lost a rap battle he provoked. Yeah.
Dude, and us on
you get embarrassed in front of 120 million people.
Yeah, man. And we Super BS are the number one. We're all major rap. We're in the rap game. Okay, we've been following NWA since day one. So you need to trust us when the Glass Man speaks. You need to trust us. Glass Man, are you a big rap fan?
I was back in the day.
Okay.
In the late 80s, early 90s. I remember going to the LA Sports Arena and checking out LL Cool J, En Vogue was playing, NWA. There was a couple others. So it was like a loaded, huge stacked concert. Yeah, it was full, 15,000 people there. But yeah, just to see LL Cool J was just starting to reach his prime. He was the headliner. And just seeing him get a little bit romantic with the couch that he had, because that was one of his gimmicks. Because "I Need Love" was one of those trending songs at that time for him. So yes, he has a couch sitting in the middle of the stage, and let's just say he gets a little friendly with it. And oh my God, I cannot believe all the people were just going absolutely crazy. But seeing the NWA, just and Vogue and some other acts that I wish I could remember the whole card, but yes, there you could see a lot of groups there that were on the upswing at that point in time, and just the influence that it would have, especially on our 90s culture. I mean, you guys are 90s guys. That's definitely where those that's where rap really came into play was and hip hop is in the 90s culture.
Did he hopefully play Gangster's Paradise?
No, it was early. It was early.
Before.
It was
okay.
It was before. Yes, it was before.
Okay. It was before. It was right when Weird Al released Amish Paradise, so he hadn't come up with the Gangster's Paradise. That's exactly how it works. Yeah, LL Cool J is a parody artist. Actually, Amish Paradise came first. Everybody just misremembers. Well, I want to show.
Mama said knock you out, by the way. So I just wanted to go ahead and make sure you knew.
Who's gonna knock us out?
Mama said.
Okay.
The LL Cool J. That's one of his famous songs.
I don't know
that one will get you pumping. If you want to, you run.
Yeah.
If you want a song like for your home stretch, that'll get you
do that.
pumping.
I'll do that, man. I'll get that LL Cool J. Yes. Well, before we get into the best Switch games ever, and Super BS decides the top 5 by giving you our top 10 and doing some math, we got to talk about some of these rumors recently that are on the Bethesda front, and then I'm going to go over a little bit of what I thought.
And a correction.
Of Pyro Yakuza. Okay. Well, let's kick off the correction first, and then we'll discuss some of these rumors. What's this correction, Glassman?
Well, we talked about it also on the Cosmos as well, the Xbox handheld, because we kind of framed it and referenced it as because based off the Windows Central rumors, which most likely it will play out to be true. And it's going to be more true because the Xbox handheld is not going to be one or the one that everybody was thinking as far as, the design leaks that we saw during the Activision lawsuit or whatnot. This is when they're going to brand their name and also the Games Pass and work it into an original or an existing handheld maker's that type of deal, like a I don't want to say Steam. I don't think Steam will do it, but Rogue Ally. Yeah, man, if they did Rogue Ally, the Asus Rogue Ally, outside the Steam Deck, the Asus Rogue Ally seems to be a really popular one. Or what are the other ones?
Legion Go.
Lenovo. Yeah, I saw those at CES. Those are higher priced, and I'm not sure they give you everything you need on it.
What do you guys think about the rumor floating around? I mean, this week it started popping up about a PlayStation Portable 2.
Is it going to be like the actual PlayStation Vita and portable, or is it going to be another one of these?
It's supposed to be like a PSP 2, and it's
they're not gonna.
It's like white, and the I guess the grips look like a PlayStation controller. It's
different from the Portal, right? The
it's
Wi-Fi
the Portal. I mean, it looks like the PSP, but it's like bigger and white, and like the D-pad resembles more of the PS5 controller. It's just, and it might just be a mock-up, but I mean, there's been a lot of people talking about it this week, just on different, off-brand.
Are you sure they would be wise to do that again?
I don't know.
So the Vita, I love the Vita handheld. I had it. I loved it. I just couldn't get enough games for it.
They didn't make enough games for it.
Proprietary issues as well. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I really like the idea though now that Xbox is going to brand itself like if they do with Asus, the Rogue Ally is powerful. It's got a great screen, and if they brand it, and again, as I was talking last week, if I could do Games Pass, I could play PlayStation games off Steam, Epic, GOG. I could do my emulation all on one place, one handheld platform. I'm in.
So it does sound, because I did read those rumors that you're talking about, Glassman. It does sound like it's going to be kind of what you want. The one thing that's been a problem with the Asus ROG Ally and the Lenovo Legion Go is the Windows UI is not really well designed for these portables. So I do hope if Microsoft actually is not just dipping their toes in and really ready to compete, that they build a UI that's capable of both giving these other storefronts the opportunity and also working with Game Pass.
Would it be Windows 11, guys, or 12?
I mean, that's the thing. If they make 12 more useful, kind of like a iPad tablet style screen, it could be good. To answer Josh's thing about the PlayStation Portal 2, the rumor is with the PS6 that there is going to be a portable model. So if that's going to be the case, that they're going to do a lower cost PS5 Pro quality level when the PS6 launches, like the Xbox Series S.
I'm in then. I am in.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's. Sure. I just don't think it would, like Gerald said, I don't think it'd be wise if they decide to make a separate device that they then have to ask their developers to make games only for, like a PlayStation Portal or portable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's all just hearsay, but
Yeah.
it interesting rumor though for sure.
Yeah. And we've got the rumors are abounding this episode. We'll start with the first one, which is the quickie, which is, I guess, Starfield's coming to PS5. Big whoop. I think we all knew this, right? I don't know if you guys saw that the creation engine for the modders came out with a PlayStation logo, not just Xbox and PC. But I think the biggest rumors, and the one I'm going to share my screen, okay, so you guys can see all of this cool goodness for it, is the one that's going to eat up Gerald's life. The rumor that in just 1 month, in April, we are going to see the Oblivion remake or remaster. We're not quite certain. This is a video of the Sky Oblivion, if you're watching. Sky Oblivion, which is the modders who use the Skyrim engine to make Oblivion in it. But Gerald, if this comes out in April, obviously it's going to be Game Pass. Are you going to play it again, even though you just finished it?
Okay, wait, can I interrupt for a second? Is this sanctioned by Bethesda?
No, the Sky Oblivion is a totally free project. And trust me, Bethesda, and they've had issues
Microsoft,
with them
right.
on this, but this has been a labor of love for the people behind it. But I think it's a totally free mod. I think it has to be a free mod.
It has to.
Yeah, has to.
Yeah. And they don't sanction this podcast either. Just to
they take donations through other ways, but you cannot. This will be free of charge when it comes out.
Okay, because I was under the impression that Bethesda was actually releasing an Oblivion remake to counter this, so I wasn't sure what.
I don't know if it's to counter this. This has been in development for forever, but they are.
And if you remember, also during the court case, if you remember, one of the other things that leaked besides the Xbox handheld was also the fact that Bethesda was working on an Oblivion remake. That
and
was
a Fallout 3 remake, by the way, which we still haven't seen. So if this is true and comes out, we might get it. I love Fallout 3, man. That was like
I love the TV series. I'll give you that.
You didn't like the game?
New Vegas is good. New Vegas is good.
You didn't like oh man, I'm gonna get his name wrong. Liam Neeson. It is Liam Neeson as the dad in Fallout 3. I love that game. I can't believe you don't like it, Gerald.
Yeah, I played a few hours of it, but it doesn't. Bethesda games connect with me more of on a fantasy level than apocalyptic level. I don't know why. It just seems like I maybe because the Bethesda. You guys know about the Bethesda deals as far as the certain nuances, NPC quirks, things like that.
All the bugs,
I guess I have more patience and enjoyment out of it from a fantasy Oblivion / Skyrim standpoint. Although I told you Skyrim, I got stuck after 30 hours and stopped playing it there too.
Oh wow. Okay, I played that game for like 110 hours when I got it the year it came out. I haven't played.
I played over 100 hours before I even started to go ahead and really actively finish the campaign.
Oh,
tells you how much I enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm excited for Oblivion. I haven't touched this game since I had the 360, so I can't even remember when I probably finished it. I know I didn't finish it originally because I do hope with this remake remaster they do fix the Oblivion Gate section of the game because that was very punishing, and in my opinion it was the worst. They did level scaling with the character, and if you didn't handle those Oblivion Gates really early on in the game before you got too powerful, I found them to be almost impossible. Like I would have to run to finish them.
I never really wanted to progress past 5th, 6th, or 7th level. I did, like you said, because you found those gates rather challenging, but not punishing at that. But if you go, I imagine, because I've seen videos of people like 10, 11, 12 higher levels, and it's brutal.
It's a bummer that they decided to do that. I am hoping with the Oblivion remake remaster they do balance that a bit, because I have to imagine you and I are not the only people who felt that way, and I know the doctor feels that way too. Jank, since pretty much Gerald and I are sold, are you going to play this or no?
Yeah, I'm still confused though. Is there a remake by Bethesda coming out, or is this?
Yes. No, I'm just showing you a video.
Oh, gotcha.
For people listening, I'm just showing a video of the mod for a remake or mod from Sky Oblivion. It's called. The mod
Gotcha.
for Skyrim that will be Oblivion.
But that's
No,
done by
there-
it's completely.
Yeah,
Those are
that's
done just
completely
by
different.
independent
I-
people. That's
yeah.
But there
I
is
just
an
wanted to show a
actual
video.
official
Gotcha.
Xbox going to be on Games Pass. Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever. the heck
Okay,
you wanna
then
call it.
yeah, I'm on board. I liked Oblivion. I
Okay.
didn't put nearly as much time into it as I did Skyrim, but I really did enjoy Oblivion quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. If it comes out in April, which kind of would be mind blowing, only because they are also getting like the Gerald, it would be our mind will be blown. They are getting the co-marketing deal with Expedition 33, and then South of Midnight is a Xbox exclusive. So if it
And then
does
you
come
have the
out
Doom, and then you have Doom coming out in
May.
in May as well. So I don't know. Would you? I would wait. I would wait
I'd
till
put it on
or
June
July.
when you have nothing, right? Like wait
Or
till
July
you
or
have-
August. Yeah, June, July in that summer period.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Or I honestly, if I were them, I would do June because PlayStation has Death Stranding 2 and Microsoft has nothing, right? So it's like, why don't you put something out at least to counterbalance things? But if the rumor is correct and it comes out in April, I personally think that is a terrible month to drop it, as it's the biggest Xbox month I can think of since November of 2021 when Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 came out.
I'm not going to argue about it because remember there was a dearth for Xbox for quite some time, and now we're getting all this good stuff. I am now 27 hours into Avowed. I ain't going to complain about that anymore.
No,
I
yeah.
understand people say, "Oh, that's too much Microsoft,
Got
too
a
much
lot better,
Microsoft."
yeah.
Yeah, you
I mean,
beggars can't be choosers. Do you want it one way or do you want it the other way?
So I'm not going to complain as in like I would rather have it than not have it at all. I just hope by like a strategy position that they think.
Oh
of
no,
it,
I
right?
agree with you there.
Because
There I
like realistically, like you, me, we all won't have the time to play one of those games. So if they release them all in April, it's like, well, okay, I'm going to probably skip South of Midnight then, which is a game I would definitely play. But it's like I would rather play Oblivion because it's just a game I know really well and I haven't played it for 10 years. And I love that style game. But before we get to our Switch list, I got to talk about the ending of Yakuza Pirate, okay? It was a very, very, very great game. I'm not going to like spoil the ending, but I will say it was easily one of my favorite games I've played this year, if not my favorite game currently. If you're looking at the screen, you're seeing all this piratey goodness, okay? It's mainly just a game of games, though. It is full of mini games, full of just recruitment and building your team and doing all these fun things. The ship combat, you take it or leave it. The story is probably one of the worst stories I've played in a Yakuza game recently, but it's still relatively decent compared to most video game stories. But overall, it's just a fun game. If you want to go play like a decent game with pretty good golf minigame, it's got that. You want to play a good game with fun baseball minigame? Has that. Do you want to play a game where you're like going through arenas and growing your characters and levels and stuff? Do that. You want to do a dating minigame? Got that. You want to just befriend a ton of people on the island? Definitely there. You want to play darts or pool or shogi or mahjong? It's all in there, right? Like it is the game of games. And I got 100% of the achievements, which I have not done in a long time for any games. And I played it for about 32 hours. It was so much fun.
Is this a continuation of Like a Dragon, or is this? Sorry, of the.
No, it's a spinoff.
No, okay.
It's a spinoff of Infinite Wealth, the final one. This talks about the character.
But they do reference things from.
Because what was the trailer that we saw where we had the antagonist from Like a Dragon walking like nude on a beach? Do you remember that?
I thought he gets amnesia.
That was the protagonist of Like a Dragon Infinite
Sorry, yeah, that's what I meant.
But I thought he gets amnesia from the events from the previous game, but that starts you off in this game.
So here's how it works. So Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is the first game that takes place in Hawaii. The one that Jank was asking about where the character has a clip where he's naked on the beach. That is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. At the end of that game, this character, Majima, who is not a main character, he's in it slightly for a little bit of the game. He goes off and does something else. He gets amnesia. That is this character's game. It's a spinoff. Majima only is playable in, I want to say Yakuza 0 and maybe one of the other ones, but I know Yakuza 0. That's the first one. And he's been like a long time series character. He's the head of one of the clans, right? Like a different Yakuza clan than Kiryu, which is the main character from Yakuza 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Actually, I don't know if he's in 5, but he's in most of them. And Like a Dragon has Ichiban, which is the main guy from Like a Dragon, which is 7, and Infinite Wealth, and the character you're thinking of, Jank, who wakes up nude on the beach. Sorry, I just wanted to get that all tied in.
All right.
So there's a lot to it.
I played the demo for 3 hours. I enjoyed it. It is very PS2-ish in a good way. But like you said, it has a lot of stuff. And the thing I like the most about it, it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Yeah, it's just a fun game. Like, one thing that so many games miss nowadays is so few of them are just fun for the sake of fun, right? Like, we're about to talk about our top 10 Switch games, and I will say, out of my list, there are very few that are not just pure fun games, right? And for me, I love the Sony first party stuff. I buy almost all of them. I find most of them to be very enjoyable, but there are quite a few of them that are not fun for moments, right? Just kind of like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth segment, not this is Sony first party, but when you're crawling through the fires of, I think it's Niflheim or wherever that town is. Do you remember that one, Jay?
Mount Doom, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, Mount Doom
Mount
to get
Doom,
rid of the
okay.
ring. That's in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But I think it's Niflheim, but I could be wrong about the name. Apologies. That scene isn't fun, where you're Cloud and you're just crawling and it's really slow. Or Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, when your character's crawling through the hospital, if you guys played it. There are moments in games where they want to like tell a story. I feel like Yakuza Pirate is a game where, outside of a few not few, there's quite a few, but some mandatory cutscenes, which you could skip and you really wouldn't be losing anything. It is a game about just purely having fun. You go do stuff that you enjoy. All that stuff keeps growing your character and leveling you up and getting your team stronger and all those things. It's truly a game that's worth trying. And I think it's at a $60 price point. When that game is $30, it is so hard to not be like, just go out and buy it. Just go out and buy it. Play it 10, 15 hours. You'll love it. Even if you just mainline the story, you'll have a blast. Anyways, loved it. You should play it. I think as of right now, because this year has not been the year for me so far, outside of maybe like Avowed, it's probably my game of the year, just because it's like my favorite thing. Again, really early. I've only played probably 4 2025 games, so it's not like I've played a ton.
I might be with you on Avowed. I'm
Yeah.
just going to give you that right now. I mean, that combat is some of the best combat I have played in a game in a long time. The story, but that combat really is some of the best that I've played in a long time.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a lot of fun.
The only pushback I get with Avowed, in terms of like the things that kind of push me away from playing it, is the amount of story and the amount of lore, right? That's what kept me doing the Yakuza Pirate, just knowing that I could turn this game on and just kind of run around a PS2 style game and do some fun mini games. I've loved Avowed. I think it's an incredible game. I think it's really deep. I think if you want to engage with their story, I think you'll be very impressed. But I will say that is the one thing that's been kind of pushing me away from it, is just that story and just like how much of it there is, right? Because sometimes I just want to run around and hit things nowadays, and it's not really a run around. You can play it that way, which is kind of how I'm playing it, but it's not really designed to be played that way, right? Like, they want you to wonder who the I can't remember all the different races of people, but who all those people are. You know what I mean? They want you to wonder who Yatzli.
They want you invested in the lore.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they have the dialogue line, which history, which I think is so clever and so good. But I will say that's the only like abrasion that I keep getting, is like friction. It's like, oh man, I just kind of want to play you for a little bit, and I don't want to have to think about talking to people at my camp about whatever just happened, but I have to, because they want to do like the Mass Effect thing, where you like go after the mission and then you talk to everyone. And thankfully the party's only like 4 people total at max, so it's not like you have to worry about like Mass Effect 2. I feel like every mission I played, I'd be spending 30 minutes on the ship between each mission. Did you guys ever feel that way?
Yeah. Yep. Well, because they wanted you to go by and get all the different dialogue options and see, develop those. Yeah.
And when I was much younger and had the time, I loved it. I loved running around and doing that. But a game now where I have to spend, I mean, Avowed is way better, probably about 10 minutes, but still 10 additional minutes between like each story segment just talking to people isn't always my favorite. Again, this sounds like a lot of criticism. Avowed is either my second or number 1 game of this year so far, so not a lot of criticism. I think it's really great. Okay, before we begin, Gerald, you have a rant about the Nintendo Switch before we start.
No. When we just you go with the thing, and when that my turn comes, I will rant then. I'll just
Okay.
rant.
Well, we are going to do the exact same style of top 10, which will create a top 5 list that we've done before, where we will each bring our separate top 10 games of the Switch, the entire console life cycle. There's only one more game waiting to come out, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition that we know of, and Metroid Prime 4, which is probably going to be a Switch 2 title as well. So pretty much the games have all come out. Those games will be calculated into a very difficult math algorithm, one that only the greatest scientists on Earth can barely figure out after years and years of practice and training. So we are going to do this math that's going to be hidden that you won't know. We're going to go round robin style, where I'm going to go Brank, Jank, Glass, Brank, Jank, Glass, Brank, Jank, Glass. Maybe we'll do it Snake, Brank, Jank, Glass, Glass, Jank, Brank, all the way till we get to the top, okay? But before we start our number 10s, we got to do some honorable mentions. We don't need to spend a lot of time on these, but I made a list of all the Switch games I played that I cared about, and that list was 57 games. So I have to bring up a couple more than 10. I'm going to kick this off. This is before we get to the actual list. These have no number. There's no numerical score to these. The first one I want to mention, A Short Hike. One of the best indie games I have ever played. I finished it on Steam, Xbox, and Switch because it's that good. As you could tell, like, this is going to be a crazy top 10. I thought about it for a long time, trying to figure out what I could replace to get A Short Hike on there. The other stuff on there is just too special to me. You're a bird who goes to summer camp. You collect a bunch of golden feathers so you can fly and climb higher so you can get to the top of the mountain. Jake, before I let you do some honorables and Glass same, I'm going to just go through my other one just because it's super quick. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I used to be a huge turn-based tactical RPG fan, and this game came out at the right time. August 2017, the year of the Switch launch. It was just wacky enough and fun enough that I could not wait to play it. I still think it's one of the better Switch games. And if you guys remember the incredible Switch trailer that they had at the original showcase, which I'm putting up on the screen now, I believe it's one of the mini games. I can't remember if it was represented in this one, but this was like the hey, here's all the games. Here's the cool stuff. We got Splatoon 2. We got Super Mario Odyssey. We got all these things. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle came out at an absolutely stacked first year of the Switch. I'm not even a Splatoon guy. And you just like look at this trailer and you got Octopath Traveler, you got Dragon Quest Battles or whatever it was called, where it's like the Musu game. You got the Dragon Ball Zs, you got the Xenoblades, you got all this stuff. But anyways, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, excellent game. There were some other ones that were way too good. Jank, Gerald, Glassman, you got any, Jake, you want to start it off? You have any honorable mentions?
Okay, so I wasn't sure. Cat Quest, was that an exclusive?
Yeah. No, it's not exclusives. And it doesn't have to be exclusives. These are just the games where our heart is connected to the Switch. But no, it was not exclusive.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Well, I want to call out Cat Quest and Oxenfree were actually two games that I really enjoyed on the Switch because I was on I was doing what's it called, like a traveling classroom for my work, and so I had those two games and I was sitting there playing them.
Not doing your job, you were just sitting there.
Well, it was a week-long trip, so I was just sitting there at night playing those Switch games, unwinding. Oxenfree was a very unsettling game, and that was all thanks to the soundtrack, so I thought that was pretty great. And Cat Quest was just one I picked up when I was bored, man, and ended up liking what I played and staying for the rest of it.
I liked Cat Quest. I only played probably about 6 hours of the first one, but I definitely enjoy that game. Any other honorable mentions?
No. What?
Oxenfree and Cat Quest. I love those two. I love those for you. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Glassman, you got any honorable mentions?
The only one I will mention is TMNT.
Oh, okay. Which one? Shredder's
Mutants
Revenge
Unleashed.
or?
Yeah, Mutants Unleashed.
Oh, Mutants Unleashed. I actually don't know that one. Is it like was it a fun like beat 'em up, I assume, or?
Yeah, it's just beat 'em up. It was all right. It was all right for what it was. Not great, but
okay.
It's not going to make it. It was fun for what it's a nice time killer, but it's something that because you're playing it on the Switch, you're not. It's not
not your primary
graphically
focus.
intensive where,
Okay.
or yeah, it's not going to kill your horsepower under the hood for the Nintendo Switch like most of these third-party games, which is something I'm going to address here in a second. But yeah, it's for what it was. It was a nice game. Just again, if you really want to see what's you, it is a beat 'em up, but it is probably it's not the TMNT arcade beat 'em up that well. It's more they try to do a couple different things from it from a different perspective. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right for
Okay.
what else. It's a,
Well, since I'm going to cheat a little bit, I'm going to go first real quick, okay? You guys know
No
me.
way, man. No.
I'm the number one cheater on this podcast. I got to cheat, okay? And you'll see what I mean about cheating real quick. I have a doozy, aka two number 10s. There was no way I could do it as one. I thought about it. My heart said two. So since these don't get very many points anyways, I'm going to do two. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, one of the greatest Nintendo fighting collections with the most characters. I think it was like 100 characters or some nonsense. It was like literally insane. Plus with the 2 DLC packs, I think it was around 100. It might have been like 90. But it is an insane lineup of characters from Sora to Cloud to Sephiroth to Snake from Metal Gear Solid. It was Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, it's mind-blowing when you actually think about how much they stuck in that game. Now, was the story single-player stuff great? No. That Smash always kind of blows that. But it was incredible. And then the one that I was almost about to edge out, Smash Bros. Ultimate, but I couldn't, but I had to get in there, Metroid Dread. Technically called Metroid 5. It is the sequel to Super Metroid. I think it's the sequel to Super Metroid. It's either that or the sequel to one of the Game Boy Advance games. But it is the 2D Metroidvania, I guess now they're like calling it style games. It's just so much fun. I remember when it came out, I want to say 2021, and I just blew through that. It was one of my favorite games of that year and one of the best games I played in a long, long time. Yeah, that's all I should say. Play Metroid Dread, play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a game that, I mean, at $60, it's essentially a steal. There's so much gameplay in there if you actually want to do all the stuff that you could play it for infinite time. Okay, We're going to start with Janky next. Jank, give us your number 10.
My number 10. All right, I got A Short Hike. That was
nice.
As you already named, man. I think you were the one that told me about it. And
I love that game.
I was it was one of those games where the soundtrack and just the sound of the wind going through the screen and I don't know, just everything about it was super relaxing. And I spent a lot of time after that trying to find games that were similar to A Short Hike. And nothing ever quite scratched the itch. And anytime I've actually played it a few times since starting it. So definitely one of the great ones in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the closest games I can think of to A Short Hike are a Little Kitty Big City and Lil Gator Game. And they're both a lot of fun, but neither of them are as magical as A Short Hike was.
Yeah.
Short Hike is it's probably about 2 hours, 3 hours to play through if you're just going to mainline. Probably even shorter than that, probably 30 minutes if you're mainlining it. But 2 to 3 hours if you want to do most of what the game offers, and probably 5 or 6 if you do everything. But man, A Short Hike is good.
It was so good. Yeah.
Gerald Glassman, what are you thinking about?
Well, again, with the Nintendo Switch, it's something where I never fell in love with it. I have one, had one for years.
Spicy.
The girls love it, but yeah, I never loved it because the fact I need some power under the hood. And if it's not a first party or indie maker, third parties just never knew how to effectively put their games, for the most part, onto a Nintendo Switch platform. And again, we've heard so many times and seen so many times. Like, for instance, Skyrim. We talked about Skyrim. My God, that thing when it first came out on I tried that on Switch. Chugga chugga, chugga chugga, chugga chugga. Yeah, that. And I mean, it was really, really disappointing. And a lot of third-party games that are, of course, but that didn't stop them from putting it on that platform because they wanted to be part of something that was as successful as the Switch. So most of the stuff that I have as far as the games out there that I appreciated and enjoyed, and I don't think I have even 10. I think I have like 7.
Okay.
So you guys are going to have to, I couldn't even come up with 10. I just did not have. I will not look fondly as others back on the Switch. I
Really?
respect it for all of it. Did what it brought to the consumer base, how many it sold. You have to respect that. But for me, again, I wanted something more under the hood, and I didn't get it. I wanted a better experience when I was playing. But for indie games and first party Nintendo games, it worked for just fine. It's just I wanted something more, and I just didn't get it ultimately. And I went back to console gaming for the most part. And outside of what my girls do on it, it just sits there gathering dust in the front room. So
it makes me sad, my bro. But we'll get back to you then at number 7.
That's why I really am hoping for an Xbox handheld that does the job. So, I'm sorry.
I think you're going to have to reset your expectations of does the job. I think it will definitely be better than the Nintendo Switch 2, but I just
doesn't do the job. I ain't going to drop the coin, if you know what I'm saying.
You better be dropping that coin, okay? If it's got the Xbox brand on it, you better be dropping that coin.
I ain't dropping the coin. I drop the coin when I go ahead and spend my Bing points on Game Pass. But I will go ahead and say, for now, at number...
Well, let's get to you. Let's get to you at 7. We'll bring you in at 7. Okay. So, Janky, what is your number 9?
My number 9, I have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So this was the first RPG I played on the Switch, and this was a birthday present. And I remember sitting down, had no history of the Xenoblade Chronicles games, but found it to be a very relaxing play. I don't know, there's something about like it took me back to the days of like Final Fantasy X, where you're running around, there's green all around you. You don't have this deserty looking world. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. It actually made me want to go play one of the other games on my list, but we'll get to that later.
Okay, well, this one, because I'm a big fan of show and tell, I'm going to show you guys while I tell you my number 9. I'm not going to be doing this for all of these, so don't worry, but this one is it's beautiful enough and a lot of fun. I wish it was higher up my list, but there's just some super heavy hitters. This is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Boy, oh boy, that is, I don't think I've actually enjoyed a Kirby game since the original NES title, but Kirby, the Super Nintendo title, Kirby Superstar. That was one of my favorites in the Kirby Stream course. But for the last couple generations of Nintendo consoles, I really struggled to like Kirby games. And even when I picked this up, I was worried I was not going to enjoy it. But once they put Kirby in a 3D environment with really strong platforming and really funny mechanics, you'll see in a moment if you're watching us live that Kirby sucks up a car. Right? Like that's just a very funny image of what he actually looks like as him as a car. And I'm going to speed ahead just in case you guys ain't ever seen that before. And I guess it's not in this trailer. But anyways, there is a lot of really, really great moments. It's really enjoyable. I don't have any children, but I've heard the co-op is a ton of fun with little ones. And yeah, it's just a joy to play. It really is Nintendo being like, hey, here's a fun game. And unlike the Yoshi games that came out on the Switch, there is a little bit of challenge once you get to the end of the game. So it's not like it's devoid of challenge like a lot of Kirby games where it's just like you do whatever you want. There are moments where you're like, wow, this is actually tricky. If I don't do this at the right time, I can't finish this. So really great, incredible ending, super strong title, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Okay.
I wanted to play that one. I forgot about it. So
you never got it?
I never got it. I remember hearing you talk about it when it came out, and I was like, oh, I want to go back and play that at some point. And then just time got away from me, and I didn't go and play it. So I think maybe this is going to be one I got to pick up.
It is, it's just such a phenomenal game. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more that I can say than that. Just in case it's on Gerald's list, I don't want to ask him about it yet. I'm going to go to 8, and then we're going to do our number 8s, and then the Glass Man will join us when we come around to him for the number 7.
Are you sure I just can't put FIFA on the list or Mortal Kombat 1?
Please put those. Please don't put those on the list.
Those games were just so well done when they were put on the Nintendo Switch platform. I mean, Josh and I talked about it. Can I show it to you? Can I show you the graphic?
Yes, let us see the.
We love it.
Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. I'll bring it up here in a second.
This next tile, my number 8, is probably a lot of people's top 5. It's just such a phenomenal game, Mario Kart 8. I've probably played it more than almost any other game on the Switch because I played it so much with my niece and nephew. But it is what is there to say beyond like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is like the best what would you even call them? Like kart racing action games, right? With the biggest cast they've ever had and the most dynamic stages, and then DLC that expanded upon it. The highest selling Nintendo game ever, on top of the best selling Switch game, on top of one of the top selling games ever made. Yeah, it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a juggernaut. I love
Oh, I
it.
love it. Yeah.
It's incredible. I wish it could be higher. There's just so many heavy hitters on the Switch. Okay, Jank, shoot us your number 8.
All right, I got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
Ooh, I love that one.
Yeah, me too. I know it's one of those games where like it's what you see is what you get, and that's kind of what I enjoyed about it. It was because everyone's like clamoring right for a remake of Red and Blue, but this pretty much was that remake there.
It was.
And I don't know, and it was nostalgic and it was fun and it was, I don't know, it just it entertained me. Like there was no frustration to it. There's no I didn't have to think about it while I was playing it. I was I was 10 years old again and loving every minute of it.
Yeah, that's a game that I didn't get very far in. I probably dropped off about 10 hours in, but I did love it because, I have so many fond memories of playing Pokemon Blue on my Game Boy Color as a child. Yeah, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu is great. I've been meaning to pick it up again just because, like, it's a game that I just kind of want to own and be able to access whenever. I don't own it anymore. Okay, Gerald, before you give us our number 7, do you want to show us the glory of Mortal Kombat 1? Or
I'm trying to find where it's not just a comparison, because most of them are just like that you can find on YouTube, like, wow, this is what it looks like on PS5, and then this is what it looks like on Nintendo Switch. So I'm trying to find you one where just is like shock and awe.
Where someone's not actually made a video just to make like extra sales. I mean, I think this one on my screen right now is probably, and I'm going to share this with you guys.
That first one that came out, the one with the what's the one with the delay with the teeth and whatnot? Oh,
here, if you see it, it's hard to see how bad it is through a video player. But let me see if I can find, like, this opening scene is pretty good example of just how bad it looked. It looked like a PS2 game. It's a game that should not have come to Switch, right? And in motion, It doesn't look too bad at moments, but it is I mean, when you see it, like especially when the characters slow down, you could see like just how grainy it is. Yeah, Mortal Kombat is I don't know why. I mean, I know why everyone brought it, because the Nintendo Switch is probably going to go down as the highest selling console in history. But it is, it's not the console for powerhouses. Okay, what's your real number 7? Jared?
My real number 7 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Oh, wonderful. What did you think about it?
Got to go with the old standbys. So
you got to.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think of it?
It's fun. It's one of those ones you can always pick up, get to play right away. You can play with friends. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that when they added on tracks to make it more variating, and it just was very enjoyable. It's something where you can always pick up and play. I do have an affinity for games that you could just pick up and play. So
I think Mario Kart 8 is going to go down as one of the greatest games probably ever made, which is kind of a crazy thing to say, just because of how powerful it is and how much there is to it.
Yeah. So Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Bros. Are two games that had just this immense longevity. Like you paid $60 for them, and they were literally adding content on these games for what, 3-4 years, at least. Well, there's the face right there.
This is 2023, guys. This is not 2003. That's 2023.
Oh, it's 2023. For some reason, I thought that was last year. Yeah, you are right. That is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That picture. That's the main character. That's Mario.
Awful.
Yeah, it definitely does not make you feel hopeful for third parties on the Switch 2. No. But yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, just incredible. Jank, hit us with your number 7.
All right, I got my number 7 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, actually.
Oh, so, wow. Okay, we almost I had it as 8. We almost had it aligned perfectly.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man. It's such a good game. I'm hoping it ends up on our top 5. We will see. Yeah, you have anything else to add?
No, I mean just what I said. It's a game that you paid $60 for, and it had years and years and years of replayability. They just kept adding content on it, and I don't know if they're going to be dropping new. That the rumors abound, man, with the new Smash and new Mario Kart for Switch 2. But I have a feeling that people will still be playing these games after those new ones come out.
Yeah, I'm very.
Are you sure I can't put Mortal Kombat 1 in there? Look
Yeah,
at that. Look at that. That's just so awesome.
I
right
think
there.
those characters look like they're the best looking characters. Are you sure that's not an Xbox Series X plus PS5 Pro combined
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you
GPU?
what. High-end system
Um,
there.
yeah, it is a very, very interesting thing. This one, my next one, is a turn-based game. I loved them for a long time. I love Final Fantasy Tactics. This is, I believe, the better of the two. They released 2 of this series on the Switch. This is Fire Emblem Three Houses. It was co-developed with Koei Tecmo. So Intelligent Systems is the developer for these games normally. But Koei Tecmo, the Dynasty Warrior people, created the open world section of it where you go around a school kind of like Hogwarts and like go and talk to your people and give them gifts and not level them up, but like do a bunch of these other things. And when you went into battles, all of your characters, even though it was one person, represented a full army. So you'll see in the screen when if you're watching where somebody's fighting, there's all these people fighting with them. It was just so much fun. And it came out in a really slow year for the Switch 2019, where really the only 2 titles were this and Luigi's Mansion 3. Another great game, but still this, and it was just, I don't know. It's been the most fun I've had with a Fire Emblem since Awakening on the 3DS. And really, Awakening was what spurned my love for the Fire Emblem series. And this is probably the only Fire Emblem I've ever finished. Such a great game. Cannot recommend it enough. That is why it's my number 7, just because the Switch was so good. Okay, so for my number 6, I am doing the first indie, I think, outside of a short hike that's been on our list for a while, Hollow Knight. I don't know if either of you blokes played this, but it is
Forgot
one of
about that.
the best Metroidvanias. People be like, it's not a Switch game. It did come out on PC first, but it really blew up in 2018 when during the Nintendo.
Where did you play it on?
I played it on the Switch.
Where do you play? Yeah,
that's why it's connected with the Switch in my mind. All these games I played on the Switch, right? There are definitely other games where you play elsewhere. Short Hike I played all over the place, but I played it first on Switch. Hollow Knight, for me, it's one of those games where I saw the direct that aired that summer. I downloaded it, and I want to say I put in about 20 or 30 hours on. I was on vacation at that time and played through the entirety of that game. That game is so vibey would be the common word now for it. It's just so much of an art aesthetic and a place. It is. Oh, it's a vibe, bro, man. That's my main thing is vibing out and being all those vibes. Love it. But because I'm taking forever, I will stop there. Hollow Knight's my number 6. Jake, hit us with your number 6.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. This is one I didn't. It came out during COVID. I remember I was going to go buy it during COVID, but then I didn't end up playing it till last year. And
oh wow,
yeah, I know. I liked it. It's a very casual game. Like that's kind of where I'm at in life right now. Like I like the casual games where I don't feel rushed to play. I could take my time. I can go back and check on things when I want to. I don't have to invest too much into it. And that was a game that I understand now. Branky Poo, when you were talking about it back in the day, you were talking about how much you enjoyed it, and I get it.
Especially at that time, it was the peace. And when I was one of the people who was not able to go to work at that time, it was something to give me something to do every day, little tasks. I didn't feel like my life was pointless as the world was going crazy. So, Gerald, what's your number 6?
Now, to finish on this last thing, I will say that one company, it's funny because NetherRealm, we were just showcasing some of their finest.
Their incredible concept art, yeah.
But guess what they also did? They also did produce, and when you can do it right as a third party, make a big game and put it on a Nintendo Switch platform, it's going to sell. It's going to move to that audience. And as we saw from Harry Potter in 2023, biggest selling game of the year on all platforms, including the Switch. There you go. So I will say very few occasions it was done right on the Switch
Mhm.
as an epitaph, but when it was done right, it usually went to a larger audience. So I will go next. I will go uh, into the indies because basically my top games are in the indies or first party,
Yep.
and I'm gonna probably go with Enter the Gungeon.
Enter the
So
Gungeon. Wow, good
Ooh,
choice. That's
yeah.
good
actually
one,
currently
yeah.
on Game Pass. Not trying to do an
Mhm.
Xbox ad, but I played it on Game Pass just the other day.
Sure.
Played it a
Very, very.
little bit on the Switch. Yeah, but mostly, a little bit more on PC. But yeah, it's something.
It's a
If
really
you get a
fun
chance. Yeah.
indie. Did you ever finish it? I didn't get very
Oh,
far in it.
no,
Okay, yeah, I was just curious. It seems like a lot of
it's
roguelikes I fall off of.
yeah. Same here. Same here.
Okay, Gerald, give us your number 5.
My number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After that one, I'm gonna go with Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Ooh,
I also
nice.
played that for a little while, and I do like the way that it evolved. It's an evolution because it takes a game that could easily or a trope that could easily been tired out by now. What 500 iterations in from the original platform that it was on, the original version that was on, but they found a way to make it fresh.
Yeah, the
And
Wonder Seeds just were so much fun. I had a lot of fun. I even did the last incredibly challenging level. I don't know if you got that far, but that was a
no,
very
yeah,
hard
that's the
level.
thing. The way I'm holding the Switch in my hands, it's never been a comfortable experience for me as well. That's maybe another reason why the Switch is just never endeared to, because I don't find it to be the experience I wanted it to be, I guess,
And
as a
that
whole.
makes a
But
lot of sense. It's not as comfortable as like a Steam Deck or anything after you play
no. I've
anything else
held
for a while.
Steam Decks, and then at CES, I even held the Lenovo's, like you said.
Yeah.
Much better feeling than.
I'm hoping they
Plus, you don't have
fix
to worry about the drift.
Yeah, I'm hoping they fix the ergonomics for the Switch 2. I do think they realize now that not everybody loved the Switch 1 feeling. So we'll see. They might leave it to third parties like they did for the Switch, but I think there's a good opportunity. Jank, give us your number 5.
Yoshi's Crafted World, and this is not one that I particularly loved. It's not one that I finished, but it's one that I played, and I needed a spot to fill on this list.
I
So
like how you did that. You gave it more points than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Animal Crossing New Horizons, but you're like, I think it's way worse than everything. But whatever. That's just what I think.
to be fair, my list was out of order. All right, and
Oh, you don't have an order list, which will
I
hurt our
no,
overall top.
no. It is ordered. I just forgot to shift this one to the end of it, so that's
Oh,
my bad.
okay. That's all right. I think all these games are still not going to make it in our top 5 once I do all the mathing. Okay, my number 5, which I'm praying makes it to our top 5 because it is, I think, the definitive indie for the Switch, Celeste. It is a game about anxiety. It is one of the tightest platformers probably on the Switch. Like, I actually think, because I replayed on Game Pass recently, I think it probably holds up better than the Mario 2D games that are on
Amazing
Switch.
soundtrack.
Yeah, incredible soundtrack. And it came out at a time, I want to say 2018, early on, where there just wasn't a lot of Switch. I mean, yes, 2017 was a banger, but I want to say early 2018, people were like, what is the Switch really going to do? Right? We knew, I think that was when we started to know that Smash Brothers was in the cards, but it just was like, okay, well, there's nothing coming out for a bit. And Celeste dropped, and it was just incredible. I didn't ever 100% it. The C side tapes, after you get the A sides, then the B sides, were so hard. I didn't finish them. But boy, oh boy, is that game great. I'm going to give you my number 4. And as always, because I love doing this for some of my faves, I'm going to share the video clip of this one. This one is the incomparable Pikmin 4. I got a GameCube, I think, in the first launch month. And my first 2 games were Pikmin 1 and Super Smash Bros. Melee. Pikmin 4 is what Pikmin was designed to be originally, is a game where you do not have to stress about the time. There's still time of days, but there's not a timeline where you have to finish everything within 30 days. It's not stressful. It's just fun. You go out there, you collect your Pikmin, you solve the puzzles, you get the different pieces. You can go through these little like dungeon roguelike areas. You keep getting people, you use some of the stuff to upgrade your characters. It is what Pikmin should have been at launch, and I cannot wait for Pikmin 5 or whatever next they make with Pikmin, which is something because it took me a while to get Pikmin 3. I didn't get it till the Switch. And Pikmin 4 just really brought me back. Such a great game. Okay. What are you going to choose, Jank, for your number 5? Or sorry, number 4.
Number 4. Okay, this one, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I know it's a
Oh, wow.
remake, but this was probably one of my favorite games I played during the Switch's life cycle. Well,
Okay.
as it was, it made my list here. But yeah, this was one that I don't know. It's just like I love games that have like little towns where you can go and buy things and talk to people, and then it has a big open world where you can go out and fight things like that. Really calls to me. It reminds me of my childhood gaming experiences, and Xenoblade Chronicles was a pretty dang big game, man. And
I didn't get very far. It was fun though.
Yeah, I got about 12 hours in, and I keep meaning to go back and finish it. I just haven't done it yet, but I really loved it.
Yeah, a very cool game too. I understand the people who don't like. I believe they had a new art style in the definitive edition on Switch versus the original, but boy, oh boy, it you could see why people really liked it on the Wii. I just never got it. I was kind of over the Wii by the time it was one of those 3 big JRPGs they were releasing on. I think Operation Rainfall, Last Story, Xenoblade, and some tower game that I can remember. Glassman, hit us with your number 4.
I'm going to put it in honor of my youngest daughter, who's still a pretty good Pokemon fan. I'm going to put, for varying reasons why, the Pokemon. I'm going to list it as a whole group, the Pokemon games on Switch. I'm going to, Pikachu, let's go Eevee, Sword and Shield, and Diamond and Pearl, because she went through all of them. And even though she had particular critiques about the gameplay a little bit here and there, the graphics, whatnot, a little bit of slowdown here and there, still, when it comes to what she did, her attention span, paying attention, going through it, she went through every adventure, and I got to give it for Pokemon to be able to, keep her away from her phone for a while to go ahead and play Pokemon. All 3 of those versions that are out there. So,
do you remember which one she might have liked the most? Just because we're trying, I want to give
them Let's Go Eevee.
Okay, Let's Go Eevee. Okay, so we're gonna give that to Let's Go Pikachu because that is also the same family. That is crazy. This might upset the world. What is happening right now? Okay, Gerald, it is you again. Give us your number 3.
My number 3. Okay. My number 3 is going to be something a little bit out of the norm because I got a little creative with it. Super Mario Maker 2.
Nice. I love that game.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Because of what you could do with it, what you create with it, and that simple platforming. It brings you can make it so it could bring you the nostalgic feels of what you experienced or what I experienced so long ago with Super Mario. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say Super Mario Maker 2. I really had a good time with it. So
it is
the creativity involved it's a lot of fun.
It was a lot harder to create that on that than it was the Wii U version, but I will say I played more of the Super Mario Maker 2 on Switch because it also had a campaign where you could go and play through like a set levels that were designed for you to play, which was a lot of fun. I finished that entire thing. Jank, hit us with your number 3 game for Nintendo Switch.
All right, I got Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Really? Did you play it?
Yeah, I did actually. I played. Oh. I didn't finish it, but I played. I played quite a bit of it. I didn't play as much. I didn't enjoy it as much as you did, but it was one of those games I played probably 10 or 11 hours, fell off like all the other Switch games I get, and haven't finished it. But I fully intend to at some point. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the the world was interesting. The characters were interesting. It felt like they really put effort into it, as like some of the other Pokemon just kind of felt like they were coming off a factory line. Like this one felt like it had like heart put into it, which was cool.
Yeah, it was definitely a very unique title. Boy, your guys' choices make me worried that the top 5 is not going to go any of the ways I was hoping it was going to go, but we will find out when we do all that number crunching. Um, Now that we're in the top 3, I got to share this one. This game is, I think when people look back at the Switch, these top 3 that are on my top 3 will probably be the most remembered Switch games because they were just so iconic. And my number 3 is Super Mario Odyssey. I think it is probably the best 3D Mario ever. I grew up with Mario 64. I love Mario 64. This one is more fun. If you were just to choose one of the 2 games to play, this one is actually the very fun one that you don't have to be like nostalgia tinted glasses. It's just a fun game. I'll never forget playing it October of 2017 when it launched. I probably finished, I think it's like 600 stars, or there's a certain amount of stars that you have to get, or moons that you have to get. And then after that, you can just buy some of them, which kind of defeats how powerful it feels to get all of the moons. But I think I got like 600 of them before I even started buying them to get to the max moon count. And yeah, it's just stupid fun. I can't. I mean, everybody will remember the first time you get to be the T-Rex, the first time you throw Cappy on a
That's
T-Rex and
right.
now you're running around, the first time you throw Cappy on a frog and now you're high jumping. It's just silly and fun. And the first time to get into a club, you have to dress up, and then you go in that club, and that's where the moon is, or you do a little dance, or you be a Koopa Troopa, or whatever it is. It's just fun. They didn't think once about like, does this make sense? It was just like, hey, this is fun, and we don't care about anything else. And I wish I could go back to playing Super Mario Odyssey for the first time. I love it very, very, very much. Um, with that, we are at the number 2s, one of the top games on the Switch. And I think most people know what I'm going to choose. This is easily the big behemoth of the Switch. But for me, there was one that just was slightly better. I had to choose The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is, I will not forget picking up my Nintendo Switch at midnight, the night that it launched, and then playing Breath of the Wild the next day, getting the Pro controller, getting outside of the opening Tomb of Awakening or Cave of Awakening or whatever it was called, and then being on the plateau and just trying to get the glider so you could go down, and just feeling this game that was so open to exploration. When you play Zelda's, like especially the original Nintendo game, is like you don't know where you're going, right? You just walk into a cave and you get a sword and then you walk around. But over time, especially after Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker, the Zelda games became so handholdy. Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, everywhere you go, there's a cutscene telling you to do this and somebody blathering on. And you go milk a cow and you do this other thing and you do this. Breath of the Wild was like, hey, guess what? We trust you. We trust you as the player, and we want to let you just run around this open world and do whatever you want. We're going to have a light story, but that's not the point. And I still think back. I think I've played that game 3 times now. One of my favorite games ever made. Jank, hit us with your number 2.
I'm piggybacking on yours, actually.
Oh, I'll
Breath of the
keep
Wild
that.
was my favorite. So, funny
I'll keep
story.
that as this.
I told you that I happened to walk in a Target one day to find, and found a Switch there. Didn't have any intention on buying one. I was like, oh, maybe they'll have them in stock. So I was of the scalper mindset back then. I was going to buy one with a copy of Breath of the Wild and sell it. And I bought it. They just happened to have, 3 copies of Breath of the Wild, 2 Switches. So I bought one of each.
Crazy.
And it just like sat on my dresser for, that night. I'm like, oh, I can't help myself anymore. I'm going to open this and play it. I'm going to keep this. And Breath of the Wild this is the first Zelda game that I played from start to finish, that I didn't stop anywhere in between. I sat there and played it. The soundtrack, I mean, I know I love my soundtracks, but the soundtracks, the color, the animation, the being able to go to the different villages and all the different backstories. I remember the first boss I fought was the one in the desert we're seeing right now.
Oh,
And
you fought that boss first? I fought the
yeah,
elephant first. And that's
yeah,
just by
well,
chance, right?
yeah,
Crazy.
because I was wanting, because as soon as I learned that you could climb the towers and get, points to add on to your stamina and stuff like that, I just became obsessed with trying to max my character out, so it was
Yeah.
everything about this game was just beautiful. And it holds a place in my heart. And it's again, like, I get real nostalgic when I see videos for it. And it was just a time in life when things were not simple, but simpler than they are now, and I could sit down and fully immerse myself into a game like this. And, I hope one day I will get to play it again.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said about the art, the music. It's just so good. It's just something that whatever. It's phenomenal. Glassman, shoot us your number 2.
You've already mentioned it before. I think it's your number 2 or 3. Super Mario Odyssey.
I
great
love
adventure. Yes, absolutely. What can you say? It's one of the best platforms. We had the discussion as far as back we were talking about best years in game, etc. Yeah, you can't argue with how good of an experience that is. Again, the best thing for the Switch was the first party material and the indie. And we see clearly, and amongst the titles that we're talking about here, we see first party, we see indies, and basically that's been our list on all 3 of our lists. But yeah, Super Mario Odyssey, absolutely great adventure indeed.
And I was trying to share, but I guess I blocked myself out of sharing. I can't agree with you more. That game is just so great when you see it for the first time and you're bouncing around as Mario and you figure out like what they're offering, you're just like, yeah, this is incredibly fun. And it totally deserves to be like one of the best games. Like, I mean, it doesn't deserve. It is one of the best games ever made. Gerald, give us your number 1. And I sadly will not be able to share any videos for these anymore because I accidentally hit block share. So I don't even know. I'll figure that out later.
Number 1, as I mentioned to you guys, this console will forever be known for its first party and indie content. And number 1 is an indie.
Oh, whoa.
Let's go to Hades.
Oh, man. Hades is a good one, man.
Hades, again, how they were able to keep the performance levels on that game is to be commendable. And that's just always a worry when you're bringing from a PC platform to a Switch console. But yeah, the experience was good enough. And the game is obviously one of the best games of the past 10 years. From an independent standpoint or what have you, it's definitely something that I think everybody should go ahead and give a try out. I've not tried Balatro out on it on the Switch. I've tried it only on Games Pass, so I guess you could say Balatro as well in that mix. But yeah, right now I'll just leave it at Hades. So.
Yeah, Hades is. I did play a lot of Hades, and I want to say it was 2019 or 2020 when it came out. And I played a silly amount of that game when it came out. It was so much fun. Yeah, totally agree. That's a great number 1 choice. Jank, hit us with your number 1.
All right. We've already talked about it, but I got to say Super Mario Odyssey. We had just started this podcast not too long before this game came out. And we were sitting there talking about our expectations for the game after we spent, 5 episodes talking about Final Fantasy 15. Good times, man. But yeah, so this was a game. I got this and right before the week of Thanksgiving, and I was heading up to our place we had up in Yosemite. I just sat out, had a chair that overlooked the deck, and I just sat there and I played this game surrounded by nature, and I just kept going back to it over and over. I beat it probably in about 4 days, and it was an experience I will never forget. And everything about this game, I remember enjoying Mario games before, but nothing like this. This was 100% peak Nintendo.
Yeah, I have to agree. It is like a kind of a time that, I mean, you think about 2017, the launch of the Switch, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's just, you don't get many years like that in games, right? Like, even when I think of like the best years in other consoles, it's hard to compete with that, right? Yeah. Like I mentioned, 2021 as being probably one of my most recent favorite Xbox years ever. because that was when they did Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 back to back, and there was Psychonaut 2 and a few other games, right? But I still think that 2017, one of the reasons why I argued for it so hard not too long ago, is just because of the Switch and my feelings for it. It's just such an incredible console, man. It just really, really is it's special. Okay, my number one, which it makes me sad that neither of you had it. I was also going to show a video, but I can't do that either, which I will figure out that later why what happened. My number one is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
I did not see that coming at all. That was just actually blindsided by that statement.
I often talk on this show about like what my favorite games are ever. And I've mentioned before, Breath of the Wild probably was my favorite game ever for a very long time. And then Elden Ring came out, right? And Elden Ring, I was like, wow, this is just so exciting. And the combat, Legend of Zelda is not great for combat. So I was like, the combat is also so good. But really, it was Tears of the Kingdom that made me realize, like, Tears of the Kingdom is actually my favorite game ever made. What they do with essentially a known quantity, which is the world from Breath of the Wild, and how much they change it and how much they add to it and how creative they get with what you can build and what you can do. I hope I get another game in my life that I care about as much as that. I put 160 hours into that game within the 4 weeks it took me to beat it. I don't think I've ever done a full-time job with all of my other jobs before, like Tears of the Kingdom, but I didn't even want to sleep most nights. I just wanted to play it. It's incredible. It's one of the best. So we had a bit of a longer episode. I would have loved to do videos with this, but instead I'm just going to read them off to you. So our Super BS top 5 from number 5 is Super Mario Maker 2 and Pokemon Legends Arceus. Those were the number 5 games for the best Switch titles, and we got a few shared titles. Number 4, best title for Nintendo Switch by Super BS is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and Hades. That was the number 4 for the Super BS top 5 Switch games, and there's obviously more than 5. I think it's like probably 8. And then number 3, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We all spoke just super fondly of that. That is easily the number 3 best Switch game. Number 2, surprised me, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And the number 1 game that Super BS voted was the best, almost unanimously, it had almost 10 points higher than the next game on the list, was Super Mario Odyssey. I think when you like hear all those games and you hear our passion for it, you just realize like how powerful of a console it was, even though it lacked the power and graphical fidelity. It just did what a lot of other companies don't do, which is it focused on the fun. But yeah, love it. Anything else you guys want to add before we hit the road?
No, sir. That was a good list. Our VH1 top 10 countdown.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Talk to you boys later.
Peace.
Super. BS.